Okay, so in today's video we will see what is directive and how we can use directive in Angular. Okay, so directives are defined as classes that can add additional behavior or modify existing behavior to elements in Angular application. This is the definition we have for directives. In simple, if we say what is directive, basically eventually directives are nothing but it is class only. So like we have in TypeScript different type of classes, we decorate it with different decorators. Like if we decorate it with decorator called component, then we treat it as a component class. If we decorate it with the module, we treat it as a module class. Likewise, if we decorate our directive with if we decorate our class with directives, then we can call it that class as a directives. So what will be the advantage we can get using directives? It can add the additional behavior, or we will be able to modify the existing behavior to elements in Angular application. Here element represent nothing but HTML tag, you can say. The purpose of directive is to manipulate the DOM by adding or removing the elements. Like with the help of directives, we can add the element, we can remove the element. These things we can achieve with the help of directive. It can also change the appearance of the DOM element. Like if you want to change the color, font color, background color, etc. So these are the things that can be achieved with the help of directives. Okay. So we are going to see all the inbuilt directives that we have, type of directives that we have, and then in last we will create our custom directive. So this is the plan that we are going to cover in this video. So types of directives, basically we have three types of directive. First one is component directives, then attribute directive, and then structural directives. So if we see what is component directives in Angular are essentially Angular components which has their own templates. So all the components we create in Angular is a type of component directives. We might not be aware about this fact, but guys, this is true, that whatever the component that we have in our Angular application, that itself is a type of directive. For example, I already have created one demo project, and inside this, like whenever you use the command ng new, then the name of the project, then you get one component by default, that is nothing but app.component. So this basically we get, and if you see, so this also we can consider as a type of directive itself. So all the component that we have in Angular is also treated as a component directives. So now I believe this is the something that we have been using. Like it is not possible that we can have our Angular application without component. Okay, for any functionality we must need to create the component, and that is nothing but the directive. It is a type of directive actually. So all the components that we have can be treated as a component directives. Next we have is attribute directives. So attribute directives change the appearance or behavior of an element. Appearance in the sense nothing but look and feel. Okay, so we can change the look, like as I told, the font color, or the background color, or whatever you want to perform. Okay, so these things basically can be changed, or behavior of an element. Okay, so behavior also we can change. Okay, definitely these are the things that we will see. Component or another directives, so these are the things that we can achieve with the help of attribute directives. They do not alter the layout but can change the style or add the behavior. Layout in the sense like it will not be able to manipulate the DOM tree. Okay, or I can say dynamically it will not be able to add the element or remove the element. This can be achieved using a structural directive. Attribute directives can only change the behavior or appearance. Okay, but to alter the layout or to alter the DOM structure or HTML page, basically we can take the help of a structural directive. So a structural directive can add or remove the element dynamically. This is what basically we can achieve. But in attribute directive we can change the look and feel, we can change the behavior, etc. So few of the examples that we have for attribute directives here we can see, okay, like we have ng style, ng class, ng model, submit ng, then ng form, ng model group. These are the examples of attribute directives you can have. Let's go and see few of them practically. For example, I will show like how basically we can make use of ng style. Okay, so if you see, I have here one project ready, okay, and in app.component HTML I have removed the default code, and this is what basically I have. So now I will run this. In order to run, you can use either ng serve or you can use npm run start, and then my project will be running, you know. So if you see, I'm getting something here like npm run. Okay, so let me try this. So if you see, basically I'm getting it is not, cannot read package JSON. Okay, so basically I am not in that folder. I have directives demo. Okay, so I need to go inside that. There my project is located. Okay, so I will simply say cd, then few letters I need to type, then I will press the tab, and then I came inside this. Now basically you can use either ng serve or npm run start. Eventually this will execute the ng serve and our project will be started. Okay, so let's execute this project, and then this is a header basically I have written that should appear. So my project started at this port. Simply I need to visit this, and then you can see I'm getting the output. This is header. Okay, now we will use how basically we can make use of ng style. This is what basically we will see. So now in order to make use of ng style, this is attribute directive. So this basically we need to use it like inside the square bracket. We can simply write ng style, and then we can write here, inside this we can write. So maybe suppose I want to change the color, so I will say color, and then I can make it red. I want to make the color as red. So this way basically we are able to set. Let's go and check now. I will save, and then if we go and if we see, so the color of this should get changed, and now you can see we are able to change the color of this header in red. Why? With the help of basically nothing but ng style. So this way you can use, like now I want to change the background color also, so I can simply like you can give that background color, and then we can make it maybe yellow. So basically I'm trying to tell, this is the way that we can make use of ng style attribute directive. This ng style is nothing but it is attribute directive. We can make use of like this, and then in the curly braces, like it is like an object where you have to give the key and value pair, where key will be the name of the property, and then value will be value like what. For example, I'm using color property. In that case, what value we want to assign. So red will be the color, and then yellow I want to make it as a background color. So now if we go and if we see, so you can see basically background color is in yellow and forecolor like the text color is in red. So this way we can use ng style. The next directive that we have is ng class. Okay, so let's see this, then others we will see it in later point of time, or you can explore. I am actually basically trying to tell like how we can make use of. So we'll see at least ng class more, and then we will proceed further. So let me create one more div. Okay, this time I will create div, then I will say this div is using ng class, something like this I can type. Now inside this, if we have to use the directive, you have already understood these are attribute, means you have to use it like a attribute. So I will simply type ng class, and then I will type the any class name, what class I want to. So like in simple, if you remember, let me remove this and make it normal class. Okay, so I will say class, and then I will say red color. Okay, so here I will simply say red color. Now this class I need to be in my CSS. So let's go, let me create this and simply say I will say color in red. That's it. Now if we go and if we see, so we have, this is the div using ng class and color is not applied on this. The reason behind is we simply have to tell here that so the error that I'm getting, basically I need to write here the color and it should be like this. Okay, so color in red. Now if we save, then you can simply see we are able to change the color, this one. So this basically currently we are doing with the help of normal class that we have been using. Now if we have to do same with the help of ng class, how we can use? Simply we need to write ng and then for class c need to be in uppercase and you close that. Now if we run and check, this time we are expecting that red color should be applied. Okay, so let's run and check. So we are getting this error. Okay, and the reason behind getting the error is that this red color, basically ng class accepts the value in three way. Okay, it accepts the value either in a string format or in array format or in object format. Okay, so currently you might be thinking that it is already in a string. No, it is not in a string. This is in double quote, but basically in order to be in a string we need to write it in this, like this, single quote, and now we made it a string. So this value will be treated as a string now and then it will be applied. So let's go and check. This time we are getting, so you can see it is applied now. Okay, now if you want to send this as I told you, currently we are passing this as a string. If you want to pass it as a array, then what you can do, simply close it in the square bracket. Okay, and then it will accept it as a array. Simply run, save all, and this time also it will work. You see, still it is it coming in the red color. Okay, and the another one is in the object format. Okay, so how? Simply you can put this open close curly braces, but this time you must need to give the conditional. So if you want to see apply conditionally, then you have to give the colon and then you have to write whether it should apply or not. Means this should be the expression. Currently I am writing the hard coded value, true or false. Okay, so if it is true, in that case it will apply. If it is false, in that case it will not apply. So currently if I write true, then this time you will see no change, still it will be working. So it is telling unexpected token. So somewhere we have done the syntactical mistake. Yeah, so we didn't remove this square bracket and that's why. Now if we go and see, you can see still it is applied, but if we make it false, then you will see it will disappear and this red color will no longer be applied. Okay, so if we shape, then you can see now the color is converted into black, means this time this class is not applied. So with the help of object, this can be conditional applied. Okay, so the second one you will be writing here expression. Currently I am using the hard coded value true or false, but here you can write a variable which will hold the boolean value either true or false, or any expression you can write, so that as soon as this will be true, immediately this class will be applied. Okay, so this is how we can make use of ng class. So now I believe we are good with how we can make use of attribute directive. We have used ng style, we have used ng class, and then we have lots of other also like ng model, ng submit, ng form, ng model group, etc. So you can have a look, you can go through by yourself. Okay, that how basically you can make use of other attribute directive. I just have given you little bit of heads up that how you can start using these attribute directives. So with the help of this, you saw basically we were able to change the appearance. Okay, so we were able to change the appearance with the help of attribute directive in HTML element. Next we have is a structural directive. Okay, so if we see the definition of a structural directives change the DOM layout by adding or removing the elements. What it does basically, it will remove the element or it will add the element from DOM tree, and that will be decided dynamically based on the condition. If we give the true condition, in that case that element will be added in the DOM, otherwise that will be removed. This also we will see. So they typically work by manipulating the structure of HTML. Okay, we can see. So let's go and make use of ng if. Okay, so let's see how we can make use of a structural directive. Guys, the difference between attribute directive and a structural directive is very clear and straightforward. With the help of attribute directive, you can change the appearance, you can change the behavior, but you cannot manipulate, you cannot modify or alter the DOM tree. However, with the help of a structure directive, you can alter, you can add, or you can remove the HTML element, dynamically also, I can say. Okay, so you will be able to manipulate the DOM tree with the help of a structural directive, but not with the help of attribute directive. You cannot modify the DOM tree with attribute directive. It can only, you can perform the operations like changing the appearance or behavior only. So let's go and see few of the example about a structural directive. So suppose we have ng if. Let me go and create one more div here. Okay, so in here I will have this div, and then I can write some text. Maybe I can say this div is using ng if structural directive. Okay, and then we will apply here. How we can apply? We can say star ng if, and then we can either write the hard-coded value true. So currently I wrote ng if equal to true, means this true is the value which will assign to this, and then basically this div will appear, or you can say this div will be added in the DOM tree. We will be able to see. So let's go and see, and now you can see this div is using ng if structure directive, and we are able to see. If we want to disappear, simply, I hope you are able to guess, we just need to change the value false, and then you will see this will disappear, right? So this way basically we can change, or otherwise instead of taking the hard-coded value true false, let's create one variable and then we can assign. So we can say here appear. Okay, so I can say appear of type boolean, and then I can make it true. Okay, so this says appear, in the sense appear implicitly has any type. Okay, basically that was nothing. So this is the name of the variable, this is the data type and the value. So currently appear will have is appear. Basically, let me make it a little bit. Is appeared, APPEARED, this is the variable name. I will say I will use this variable, and then you can guess this time as soon as I will use this, let me remove appeared, is appeared. So now the value of is appeared is set to true. You can see this ng if div is appearing, right? And if we change the value to false, it will stop appearing. So this way we can use ng if. Now one thing you need to understand, guys, we are using the structural directive with the help of a star. This is a shorthand, you can say, the way which tells us that we are making use of a structural directive. Okay, and it is able to manipulate. Okay, so if I set the value false, okay, let's go and let me make this value false. What will happen? This time the value will be removed from the DOM tree itself. Okay, so if we go and if we see, this time even in HTML we will not be able to see this one. Okay, so we have everything, but in this you see we don't have this div. However, if we make the value true, then you will see automatically this will be added in the body, in this one, and then you see this div is appearing. The same div was not appearing last time, but as soon as the value became true, immediately it added. But when we make its value false, that will again disappear. So let's go, and this time if I expand, you will not be able to see that this div is using ng class. That div only we have, but we don't have the third div which tells this div is using ng if, right? So this way basically we can add or remove the element from geometry with the help of a structural directive. Now one thing that you need to remember, that this is a structural directive, and eventually this gets converted into something like attribute directive only. How it gets? So see, we wrote it like this, but eventually how it will get converted, it will get converted like this: ng template, and then this entire div will come inside this, and this one will be removed. Now if we go and check, this is let's go and check whether we are able to see this two times or not. So if we go, we cannot see even the single times. Okay, so the reason is, guys, by default, and whatever you write inside the ng template will not appear on the browser. Okay, so here the same syntax will be converted into this, and then whatever we have written here, the same will be written in here. Okay, and this time, as I told you, this eventually will get converted like attribute directive. So how it will get converted? The same, it will use the square bracket, then it will use ng if, okay, and then you will use this variable. So this time let's go. Okay, and the value also need to set here true. So it is false, we need to make it true. Okay, you might be thinking that, oh, earlier it was false, that's why it was not showing. So let me make this true, okay, to make you understand, and then from here I will remove. Okay, and when I will remove, it should appear. But what I told, by default, whatever the content that we write inside ng template, that will not rendered. Okay, so let me save, and let's check whether this syntax we are able to see twice or not. You see, we are getting only one time, which is nothing but from this div, but not from this. So this ng template will only be rendered if it has ng if, or if their condition is set to true. So now eventually this will get converted like this only, and then the condition will look something like attribute directive. In here, ng if equal to, and then is appeared. Okay, now you will be able to see the two times. Let's see we are getting or not. So you see, now we are able to see the same structure, same syntax two times. Okay, so this I told you explicitly, but when we write like this, eventually this expression will be converted into this, and then it will be rendered. So please keep this in mind, and this will be helpful when we will try to create our own structural directive. That time this knowledge will be very useful. Okay, as of now you just remember that this syntax will eventually get converted like this, and then it will be rendered. Okay, so we are good with ng if. Let's go and then see ng4. So basically ng4 is nothing but you can use let me go, I will simply say div, and here I can I can write maybe ng4 equal to let a of arr. Okay, and then simply try to print the value. Here I will say one thing like maybe h3, printing the value with the help of ng4. Okay, and then I will print a, and obviously we don't have arr, so this needs to be created in our ts file. So I will say arr equal to, you can create like this also, then I will say 1 2 3 4, some value we can keep. Now let's go and check, and this time we are not able to see. Let's see what is the problem. So in here, if you see ng4, let a of ARR and then trying to print the value. Okay, so this file is not saved. You can see this dot is representing this file is not saved. I need to click and then press save all, and this time you will be able to see all the values. So this is what basically this is the structural directive. It is able to change the structure. It has added these many divs, right? For every single value we have a single dedicated div, means this time it has executed exactly the same number of time that whatever the length of this ARR is. Okay, so this way we can make use of a structural directive called ng4. The next directive that we have is ng switch. Okay, so let's go and see how we can make use of ng switch. So I will say div, and inside div let me write few more div like let me copy this. So ng switch, this concept is exactly same that we have been seen in others. So here in order to write this ng switch, we can write like ng switch. Okay, and then here we can tell anything. Okay, maybe I will say data. Okay, and then inside that obviously guys we have already understood that how switch works. So in whatever the value data will be, and inside that we have to write the condition. So for that switch case we have to write, and that case value will be matching to this data. For that div only the value will be rendered. Okay, so let me go and create some value, but before that I need to write the switch case here. So we can write here ng switch case equal to here I can write maybe 1, then we can write here 2, then we can write here 3. Okay, 1 2 3, and obviously the value will be 1 div with value 1 in switch case. Okay, just because we have lots of div now, and so just to distinguish them we are writing a meaningful syntax. So just by reading them it will be clear for us. So 1, then 2, and then 3, and of course we need to create the value of this data. So let me save this and let me make this data. I will say data of type number has value 2. I believe you are able to guess which div will be rendered. So this time we are expecting only this, because data will have the value 2. It will match with all. It will actually directly jump to this case and it will see we have the value for 2. So it will print this. Let's go and let's check, and you can see we are getting the value corresponding to 2. Like this, if you remember, we have one more things in switch, and that is what? That is a default. Okay, so let me write that also, ng switch, and then what? Default. Okay, so in that case we don't need to write any condition. So if nothing, we can say div with default value, default value in switch case, and then 1 2 3 I will type the value 5. I hope you understood. This time we will get the default value, and then you see div with the default value in switch case. Okay, so this way we can make use of ng switch. Then we have one more like ng template outlet. So let's go and let's see how we can make use of ng template outlet. For that I will write again ng template this time. Okay, because it has the name itself contains ng template and then outlet. Okay, so ng template we need to create. I will say ng template, and then I will say this is template, ng template. I can say ng template where value will not be rendered by itself until we have some condition on it. Okay, now I have already told you that whatever the content we will be writing inside this, it will not be rendered. If you want to see, let's go and check on the browser, and you will not see this is for switch case, but we haven't get anything from this last that we write inside the ng template, right? So this ng template will not be rendered itself. Now either you can write the ng if, basically that when we write syntax like this, then it's get converted in ng template, or if you want to render with the help of this ng template outlet, so how we can do this? Simply you have to use ng container. Okay, so you can write ng container, yeah, and then whatever the content we have written inside that will be rendered here, but there is a condition, we have to use ng template outlet here. For that you have to give first template reference variable, so maybe give a temp reference, temp ref. I gave this, I believe we are already aware about that this is nothing but template reference. Okay, now in order to render this content inside the ng container, we have to make use of this structural directive called nothing but ng template outlet, and then simply assign the value of this reference variable. So with the help of this, it will detect that which template needs to be rendered, and it will bring the content of that one. Okay, even though, okay, let me go and see first. So you can see we are able to see this content now with the help of ng container. Okay, now suppose I have already some content inside that, so this is ng container. What will happen? So if we, okay, control Z, now as long as it is not using this one, only this one will be rendered. But currently now with the help of ng template outlet, we are telling that this value should be rendered. So what does it mean? Does that mean that this will also render and this will also render? No, this value will be what? Overridden by this value. So we will not be able to see this value, and still we will be able to see this value only. Let me save, it is already saved. Let me go and check. We are not able to see this is ng container, we are able to see this is ng template only, right? Because this value was overridden. So this is how basically we can make use of ng template outlet, which is nothing but is a type of a structural directive. Okay, I believe now we have a little bit better understanding about attribute directive, a structural directive. Let's go further for the next one. A structural directives like ng if gets converted first and then executed. So this we have already discussed, right? Like if we write something like this, then this will get converted into ng template, then ng if will retain like this attribute directive. If we write ng if directly on the HTML element like div, paragraph or anywhere, then we have to write it with a star. Okay, but eventually that will get converted like attribute directive like this, and that we have seen practically, and then eventually it will be rendered. Now it's time, we have seen few of the examples for attribute directive, for a structural directive. Let's go further to create our own directive. Okay, so we can create the custom attribute directive and can change the appearance element. This we already understand that attribute directives are used to change the appearance of the element. So let's go and create this. We will create our own directive, attribute directive basically. So I will use open one another git bash. Okay, and then in order to create, I will use the command ng g for generate, d for directive, and then name of the directive. Maybe I can say my own attribute. Okay, my own attribute directive. And then guys, what it does, it will create one ts file. Along with that, it will also update our app.module.ts, and then it will also generate the specs file for everyone. It keep generating the specs file, which is nothing but for testing purpose. I don't want this, okay, because we are not going to perform any kind of testing right now. So I will skip that, and we can use --skip tests. Okay, now it will not generate the escape, I mean test file. So it says the command is not available when running the Angular CL outside of workspace. So we are inside the learnings, but basically it needs to be inside our project, inside the directive demo. So first we need to go inside that. So I can say cd, right, type the few letters and then press tab, then go inside that. And now if we execute the same command, this time we will be able to generate our directives. Okay, so you can see we were able to generate the directives. Okay, and if we go inside the app.module.ts, you see it has already been updated inside the declarations. Okay, all happened. You see, basically we got the two file. If we didn't write escape test, in that case we could get the specs file also. Okay, but we didn't want that, that's why we removed that. So we have already done. Now suppose with the help of our custom directive we want to change the color. Okay, so let me write one div here, and I can say this div is using uh, custom attribute directives. Okay, directives makes sense. Now what will happen, we have used, and now assume with the help of this we want to make the with the help of this our custom directive we want to change the color of this. So how we can do this, simply go to there, then in that, guys, what I want, this is the selector that we need to use. So simply I will use this as a attribute in this div, and let's see if anything happens or not. So let's go and check. So you say this div is using custom attribute, right? So let me give some you know, I will say break line, I will give, so it will be, we will be able to understand that this is our custom directives. So we have, from here we have started creating our custom directive. Now you see there is no changes happening. We want to change the background color of this, we want to change the color of this div with the help of our custom directive. So for that we have applied this directive, but nothing is happening. The reason is we have not used any logic inside that. So first, in order to change the color, I have to get the reference of this div element, right? And that we can get with the help of element ref. So here I can create one variable, let's say el. Okay, and then element ref. So with the help of this we can get, and then whatever the logic that you want to perform, you can simply perform. Now this el will be pointing to this div, then whatever we want that we can basically perform on this div. So with the help of this we will write, suppose we want to change the color, so I can say el dot native element dot style. Okay, so I will simply say I want to change the style, and then what, I want to change the color. So what I want to make the color as blue. Okay, this time, with the help of this directive we are able to do, let's go and check now whether the color got changed or not. And you can see we have modified the custom directive and we are able to see its impact. Likewise, if we want to change the background color, same we can write here, right? So you just need to write here background color, and I will say orange. So I'm trying to tell basically orange. So this attribute directive helps us in changing the appearance and behavior, and the same thing we are doing here also. Okay, so let's go and see, we are able to change the background. So this way, whatever operation you want to perform with the help of your custom directive, you can perform, and logic you can write. So whatever logic will be written, currently I'm writing inside the constructor, you can create method or whatever the way that you want, you can go and you can create like that. Okay, so this way we can create the custom directives. Okay, I would like to tell one more thing, guys. Here we have used the name of the selector in a square bracket, and that's why we are writing like this. Okay, now let me remove this. If we remove this, and then let's check what happens. So if I remove, if I save, in that case you see all impact gone away. Okay, the reason is this time something mistakes we are doing. Okay, and what is that? So as soon as you remove the square bracket, now this one should not be, treated like a attribute. It should be used like an HTML tag. Okay, that how you use the tag. So now in order to make this, if you are not writing it inside the square bracket, means it should not be used like attribute. Instead it would be used like the HTML tag that we write. So this time instead of writing this, we can write like this. Okay, and then if you write, so this way this time works. So I will comment the above one, and let's go and see it is working or not. So you can see it started working, right? The color become blue and the background become orange, etc. So whatever the logic we wrote, so guys keep this in mind. If you are not writing it inside the square bracket, in that case it should used like a HTML tag. Okay, and if you are writing it in like a within the square bracket, then it should be used like the attribute. Okay, this point keep in mind. I will undo my code, I will comment this. I believe you understood this. So simply I will comment and I will uncomment this. Okay, let's go our next point. So it says we can create custom attribute directive and can change the appearance of the element using native element or renderer too. Okay, so in order to understand the renderer too, guys, currently we were able to change like this. We can achieve the same with the help of renderer too also. Okay, but this syntax that we have written, it is more similar like JavaScript syntax. In order to convert it into the Angular standard, we can achieve the same with the help of renderer. So let me write how we can do this. So private, you can say renderer, and then we can import renderer 2, which is nothing but present inside the Angular core only, that automatically imported. Now let me comment this. I will write the same syntax, same achievement basically we have to do. So this time we can say this dot renderer dot set. You see, we have lots of things that we can perform with the help of renderer, like we can set the property, set the style, set value, etc. This time set style will be able to help us to achieve the exactly same that we were doing earlier. So I will say set style, and then what we need to do here, we need to pass few parameters, right? Like see, the first one will be element where we want to perform, second one will be a style, and third one will be the value. So element will be el dot native element. Okay, the second one will be like, suppose I want to say color. So color, and then what I wanted, we wanted basically in blue. So let me go. Okay, I will change the color this time to green. So otherwise we can guess that it is coming from previously only, maybe somewhere. So green. Okay, and then I will write the same for this background color, background color. Guys, it is camel case, so you need to write background, and color should be, C of color should be in uppercase. So background color, let me keep it orange only. Let's run this time we are doing with the help of a renderer. Okay, so you see, same we are able to achieve, and this time intentionally I made the color of the text is in green color, and so we are getting here. Okay, so this way we can consume, and this is more of a Angular syntax rather than the one that we were using the previous JavaScript syntax. Still we are achieving the same thing with the help of renderer. So just wanted to introduce that how we can make use of renderer also. Now if we want to perform anything, any activity, then guys we can make use of host listener. Okay, so how you can use? So suppose this is the element that we have. Now when we hover on this, or we remove from this, or click on this, we want something. So if we want to perform any activity, in that case we can make use of host listener. So how we can use? Simply in here we can write at the rate host listener. Okay, and then inside that we have to write the name of the event. So event, you can search, like for example we have mouse enter is the event. So as soon as mouse will enter, it will detect that event, and then you can write any event name, maybe function name now. So function, I will say, okay, mouse entered. This is, guys, random name. You can write anything, entered, and then this function will be executed. Here we can write event of type event. And then suppose I want to change the color. So by default, when constructor will be executing, this line will execute. I want to change the background color, so I will now take this syntax from here. So earlier when it will be loaded, it will be on orange, and then when I will enter the mouse, I want that it should have basically the color should get converted into yellow. So let me convert this into yellow, and this el says cannot find el, correct. So because this is out of the constructor, let me use this, and it got. Likewise, let's write few more, like mouse enter, then I can write mouse leave. Let me write one more event called click. So mouse enter, then another event is mouse leave, then we have let me write the same name for function also. And when mouse will be away from there, I want to get the color in a red. Let's make it red. Okay, and then when again we'll click, when we click on that, okay, in that case I want to make this in maybe white. Okay, so now when we will enter the mouse, it will convert it into yellow color. When we will move the mouse away from that element, in that case it will be in a red color. Okay, and guys, remember, all this activity will take place on which div, on which element, where this attribute is being used. Okay, currently this attribute is used on this div. So all the activity, all the hot listener, or whatever the task that we are performing in our directive, you will be able to see on the impact of those changes only on this div and nowhere else. So don't get confused. Okay, we have written this hot listener to detect the event and perform their respective methods. Okay, so you don't need to do anything. As soon as this event will take, automatically this method will be executing. Likewise, if it will detect the mouse leave, this one will execute. You don't need to call this method explicitly. Okay, so let me go, let me run. Now when I hover, let's go, when I enter my mouse, you will see the color got changed to yellow. When I go away, in that case again it will get changed to red, and then I will go, so yellow red, like this. And if I click, we have a respective call method for click also, so it should get converted into white, right? So let me click, and you see color got changed to white background, right? When we away, then in that case again got changed to red. So this way dynamically also we can perform some operations. Next we have is hot listener. We already saw. Now we can use the host binding to bind the properties and attribute of the host element to properties of the directive or component class. So host binding basically is nothing but we can make use like this. So here simply we need to define host binding. Okay, host binding, and then inside that we can tell what we want. So for example, suppose we want to color, so simply we need to tell style dot background color, right? Style dot background color, style dot background color, and then we can tell here definition background color, and we can make its type anytime. Okay, that's it. Now what we can do, so whatever the syntax we have written, we don't need to write such a lengthy syntax. Simply remove this and put here this dot background color equal to yellow, and we are done. You can see still we will be able to achieve same. So I will comment this and then I will write here red. This time I will comment this and again paste here. This time I will make black, okay, just to ensure that it is working fine. Okay, and let me save and let me run. So we can see now when we hover it is in yellow. When we remove, still you see same functionality, and when we click, just to ensure that this time we are able to perform with the help of host binding. So if I click, you remember what color will get changed? It will change to black. Let me click on this and you see the color got changed to black. Okay, so these are the advanced syntax, I will say. So either we have different approaches. You can convert using the JavaScript syntaxes, you can use with the renderer also, or eventually you can use the host binding also. Eventually we are not doing anything but achieving the same thing. So just for your awareness, I explained like what is host binding, how we can make use of this renderer, and the native element also. So we already saw how we can make use of host binding. Now in custom directive, if we write selector in a square bracket, then it will be used as an attribute, and if we don't write in a square bracket, then it will be used like HTML tag. Do you remember what is the meaning of this? Yes, you are right. Basically few minutes back we discussed these things where we removed this, right? When we remove the square bracket, then it was not working, and then we had to use this syntax, right? But if we are using the square bracket, then we can use like attribute. So this is what it is trying to tell. So I will go to directive, I will undo. Okay, so now it is inside a square bracket. So this is what basically the way that we can create our custom attribute directive. Now the last one is we can also create the structural directive and manipulate the DOM structure. So let's go and try to create our structural directive also. In order to create that, let me go, and again I will say ng g for generate, d for directive, and we can say our own. Let's create ng if, for example. Okay, so I will say our own ng if. Okay, and again I will skip tests. I don't want test file. Okay, so our own ng if we are going to create, and this time it got created. So here it is, and this we are trying to create it like a structural directive, so that it should be able to what, it should be able to add or remove the element dynamically. Okay, so in order to do that, guys, remember one thing. If you remember one thing what I told earlier, that if we are using something like this ng if, okay, so eventually it gets converted into the syntax like ng template, and then the operation is performed on this ng template. Same we have to do here also. So earlier while we created the custom directive, we used what, we used the element ref, but this time we don't want element ref, we want template ref, because a structural directive gets converted into template ref. So here we can create the reference for that. Private, I can say temp ref. Okay, and then the type would be template ref, and we can say it is of any type. Okay, so this is the template ref. And then one more thing, guys, this is the template. Concern is कि once this template doesn't rendered automatically. Okay, it needs some conditions, so that also we have seen. But concern is how we will be able to add this template into a view so that it should get rendered. Okay, for that, whatever the layout that you see on this screen, it is called view container. Okay, so entire screen is view container. So simply we have to import that also. Simply we can come here and we can create for that private vcr, I can say, or I can say view ref, container, sorry, view container ref. Okay, I wrote it different. ref like this, and then we are done. Now what will happen, we have the template ref. Okay, so what we can use, let me go and create one more div here, like this, and then we can say this div is rendered with the this is rendered using our own custom structural directives, okay, or directive. So now we will apply, and do you remember how custom a structural attribute gets applied? It gets applied with a star and then this, okay, and now it will have some value. So we can say here true or false, or we already have a variable. So let me tell this one is appeared, it has the value true, so it should be appeared right now. Let me go to HTML and then here, if we save, let's see if we are able to see it or not. So this div is using custom attribute directive, but we are not getting this div is rendered using our own custom directive. What is the reason? The reason is we haven't written any logic so far. Okay, so what we can do, assume, see, this value is basically getting passed to this one, so definitely we need to receive this value, and based on that only we will be able to perform certain operations. So you are right, as we discussed earlier, that component itself is a type of directive. So here also whatever we have been doing inside the component, same we can do here also. Like if we have to receive a value from parent, what we do in the component, we create the input type variable. So here we need to do same input, okay, and then the name. So what name we are passing? This one, right? This. So same we can define here, and then we can tell its type any type, okay, and we are done. Now what we are telling, ki if the value of this one is true, then just keep this inside this container and automatically that will get rendered. So we can put the condition if our ng on if not here. Basically if we are receiving any value using input, don't write that logic inside the constructor. So input, guys, what happens, the values keep changing. So if you have anything, I will suggest you can write inside ng on init also, or it's better that you write inside ng on changes. It will always get executed. This is a life cycle hook, it will keep executing. If you want to have a strict implementations, then you can implements from here, implements on changes, okay, and then you see it is saying why have you not implemented. So I will say okay, you only implement, why will keep mine, and then inside that I will write the logic. I will simply say if our on ng if has value true, then what it does, it means it should get rendered. I will say this dot, okay, and if this is the case, in that case it should be rendered, this template should keep inside this view container. So this dot view container ref dot create embedded view, it will create the view, and then we will keep inside this, and what we need to read, this ref. So simply this dot template we are keeping. If the value is false, in that case we have to remove from there. So simply we can say view container ref dot clear, and it will clear that one. Okay, now simply we, as soon as we write this, we are done. So when the value will be true, automatically it will be kept inside the view container ref and it will be rendered. But if the value is false, immediately that will be cleared. Let's go and check now whether we are able to do. So you see this div is rendered using our own custom structural directive. This is able to render, okay, and now if we change the value of this one to false, okay, let me go and let me make the value false. In this time you will see automatically it disappears, okay. So now we don't have that structural. This is a custom attribute. This is another one. Don't get confused. Okay. This syntax that we wrote here, we are not able to see this div is rendered, right? So this, if you believe, you will get to know this is something which exactly working like ngIf, right? So this way, guys, basically we can create our custom structural attribute also. So I hope now you have clarity about what is directives, what are inbuilt directives, what is custom attribute directives, and how we can create the structural directives. Okay. So if you have any questions regarding directives in Angular, feel free to ask me in the comment and I will try to respond you. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you.